Good evening, folks. It's Diamond with the Oppenheimer Ranch Project, Magnetic Reversal News, Sacred Geography, and Shinrin Yoku, bringing you a grand solar minimum update Friday, September 8th, around 9 p.m. Mountain Time 2023. Hong Kong paralyzed by flash flooding after the heaviest rainfall since 1884. Say it ain't so. Powerful 6.8 magnitude earthquake rattles Morocco, at least 5 dead, and yet another seismic swarm with an M3.8 at Campi Flegrei. Keep calm. It's boom time. Intense, powerful Hurricane Lee will slow down over the ocean for the next few days, taking almost 4 days just to move a few hundred miles. The whole time, it will remain as a major Cat 4 hurricane, maybe even greater. Currently, Lee is sitting at Advisory 14 at 150 miles per hour, which is an extreme Cat 4, just approaching Cat 5. Let's take a quick look at the Saffir-Simpson, and you can see Cat 5 starts at 157. Here's the key messages for Lee as of Advisory 14. Lee's core is expected to move well north of the northern Leeward Islands, the Virgin Islands, and Puerto Rico this weekend and early next week. Dangerous surf and life-threatening rip currents are affecting portions of the northern Leewards already. These conditions will spread westward and northward, affecting Puerto Rico, Hispaniola, the Turks and Caicos, the Bahamas, and Bermuda through the weekend. It's way too soon to know what level of impacts, if any, Lee might have on the U.S. coast, the Atlantic, Canada, or Bermuda late next week, particularly since the hurricane is expected to slow down considerably over the southwest Atlantic over the next few days. So it will be several days before we know the actual track for Lee. But currently, we've got the next 4 or 5 days well set through Wednesday here. Major hurricane as it turns up, it appears, right when it passes Puerto Rico and is near the Dominican, it should move north. Now, the long-term spaghetti model's showing multiple tracks impacting Maine directly. So this could be quite the northeast storm. Anything can happen within 8 days, and it could shift tracks over here to the northeast or loop away and only affect the coast from a distance. That would be the best case scenario. Now, nearly 12 inches of snow expected on Colorado peaks in the upcoming days. It's already been snowing at some high elevations, but according to forecasters from Mountain Forecast, Pikes Peak is predicted to get 11.4 inches of snow through next Friday. And there is snow on the GFS, especially for Canada and Idaho, Wyoming, and Montana. Excessive heat, excessive rainfall, and severe thunderstorms Saturday. Excessive heat warnings are in effect for parts of southern Arizona and southern California this weekend, just small localized areas. Heavy rain may bring flash flooding in the southern Appalachian foothills Saturday, while isolated strong to severe thunderstorms are possible from the northern high plains into the central plains and south to Texas, the nexus of the Schmexis. Much of the East Coast and the east of the Appalachians could also receive rain. Click on your county for more info. Now, good news. Following an exceptionally hot start to the month of September across the eastern two-thirds of the lower 48, a more autumn-like air mass will progress from the nation's heartland to the East Coast next week. And we are looking at the progress of that right here. So you can see most of the country, including the West Coast, it's going to be about 8 to 10 degrees below normal for most of the time. September 11th, you're looking at here. September 12th. September 13th. It will be chilly across most of the nation. September 14th. September 15th. You picking up what we're putting down? It's boom time. Hong Kong paralyzed by flash flooding after the heaviest rainfall since 1884. Now, record-breaking rainfall paralyzed much of Hong Kong on Friday, with flash floods submerging metro stations and trapping drivers on roads as authorities suspended schools and urged the public to seek safety. Take a look at this sinkhole. Holy macaroni. Look at the cars completely buried. And can you imagine how disgusting this water is? I can. Looks like some landslides there. And some catastrophic flooding Now, the interesting thing is that 1884 was way back when solar activity was as low as it is today. You add the eruption of Hunga Tonga and the increase of atmospheric moisture by 14%, and that is a cocktail for disaster, a grand solar minimum disaster that's unfolding right now before your very lives. Two strong earthquakes shake Puerto Vallarta. Magnitude 5.6 and 5.9 shook Puerto Vallarta and other municipalities in Jalisco and Colima. Now, the big rumbler, a powerful 6.8, rattled Morocco with 5 believed to be dead. The earthquake struck late Friday evening with the epicenter 75 kilometers west of Marrakesh, a major economic center. And this is ongoing, and more details are hitting as we speak. So stay tuned for more updates on the deadly quake in Morocco. Seismic update. There is that quake in Morocco. Aftershocks already 6.8. The most recent aftershock of 4.9. I'm sure rattling nerves. We also had a 5.8 in Zapata, Mexico. And there is a 6.6 in the Kermadec Islands, which is, well, near absolutely no one. Slight uptick in the West Coast here. Northern California. Looks like we had a 4.4, 12 kilometers southwest of Fall River Mills, California. I'm sure that rattled some nerves as well. Worldwide volcano news update. Sangay, volcanic ash today. We also have Popo, Fuego, Reventador, Campi Flegrei. We're about to get to it. Another seismic swarm occurred beneath the Campi Flegrei caldera yesterday evening. Mayon also puffing and passing. Nevado de Ruiz, Suanosima. Popo, Fuego, Sabancaya, Sangay, Reventador, Nevado de Ruiz, and on to the Campi Flegrei uplink. Yet another seismic swarm period with an M3.8 thankfully ended, but it looks like this may be a weekly event, a cyclic event. Another seismic swarm occurred beneath the Campi Flegrei caldera yesterday evening at 1945 local time. According to INGV, seismic instruments started to monitor oscillations of the ground surface. The seismic crisis commenced with approximately 18 earthquakes, of which one was located with a maximum amplitude or magnitude of 3.8. However, the Volcano Observatory issued that the seismic swarm episode has ceased. This swarm is among the strongest beneath the caldera since the seismic crisis during the 1982-84 period. Holy macaroni, what are they telling us? Look at this. Here's Vesuvius over here. A couple of small rumblers in there. But the land goes away. And here we are at the Campi Flegrei caldera, where you could see that flurry of activity and that larger quake, all of this happening very near the surface. The last flurry of activity was back here on September 2nd, and now we have another one September 8th. So it seems to be pulsing about every 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4. So next Thursday, we could see another seismic swarm. Now, we would expect many more earthquakes, like 10 to 100 times more than this, before an actual paroxysm or hydrothermal venting or volcanism occurs. So we are in the stages of an uptick to potentially something happening at Campi Flegrei. Stay tuned for more boom. Space weather news update. Take a look. So-called solar max, the sun is embarrassingly blank. Let's look at the latest HMI intensity. Couple pinpricks. Over here we have a plage area with some pinpricks. Some more plage and pinpricks. One actual sunspot right there. That's about it. They're probably calling this 18 sunspots. But solar max, probably the weakest in 100 plus years, in my opinion. Now, there was a solar eruption observed yesterday, but this CME is not headed to Earth regardless of what anyone says. Asteroid orbits unexpectedly after being hit by NASA's DART. Now, this is breaking news. Dimorphos orbit around Didymos has been shrinking ever since its collision with DART. What are the implications? Well, after the DART mission, after the impact, the original orbit was shortened into a new orbit because of the impact, and they thought that was the end of it. But according to a new team, new post-DART collision period for the Didymos system, there is evidence for anomalous orbital decay. Well, we're going to be talking about this Saturday on the radio show. It appears as if Dimorphos is spiraling in for a final collision with Didymos in the near future. We're going to talk about the periodicity, the shortening of the orbits, and when a possible catastrophic event may happen. Now, this is bad news because Dimorphos is 500 feet wide, Didymos is over a mile wide, and if they break apart, we could have a huge swarm of objects in the inner solar system that could become a threat to life on Earth. So tune in to Saturday for more updates on the Didymos debacle. NASA's Mega Moon rocket is unaffordable, according to accountability report. Well, what else is new with NASA? Never a straight answer, and certainly over budget. NASA's Space Launch System, or SLS rocket, sits on a launch pad at Kennedy Space Center in Florida ahead of the launch of Artemis 1 mission, a successful uncrewed test mission completed last year. But senior NASA officials say that the agency's Space Launch System, the massive rocket designed to propel its ambitious Artemis program to establish a base on the moon, is, well, unaffordable, according to a report Thursday. And the reason is we're going to be sending another $500 million to Ukraine, to their people, and not to Maui because they need it, and we certainly don't need to go to the moon. Who cares about the moon? It's made of cheese. Now, this coming from Sari's science team after 3 cutting-edge articles coming out over the last month poo-pooing anthropogenic global warming as a scam, proving that 40% of the warming since 1880 is probably because of nefarious temperature monitoring stations, and it goes beyond that. And now they've been attacked. Well, what else is new? The only problem is these papers were published in top peer-reviewed science journals. So no matter how you want to attack them, you probably are going to look dumb, and certainly they did. We're going to also go over this on Saturday on the radio show. Lee and I will decapitate the mainstream media and their stupidity. And we will link all of this below, a reply to the erroneous claims by realclimate.org on our research into the sun's role in climate change. And if you didn't know and you're an early bird, get out in the morning around 5 a.m. if you're in Colorado or even in northern Utah, or perhaps you're in northeastern New Mexico. Get out and look up. Tomorrow morning, Saturday, September 9th, the International Space Station will make a highly visible pass over the western slope, traveling from the northwest to the southeast. The International Space Station will suddenly appear over the northwestern horizon at 5:21 a.m. And because the sun is coming up at this angle of incidence, it will illuminate the space station like a glowing celestial god. At about 30 degrees above the horizon at 5:21 a.m., the ISS will appear. The sudden appearance is due to the ISS coming out of our Earth's shadow. At 5:22 a.m., the ISS will be 82 degrees above the northeastern horizon as seen from Grand Junction, Delta, and Montrose, and directly over Somerset. At 5:27 a.m., it will set below the southeastern horizon at that time and will be over the Gulf of Mexico. So if you are in Crestone, near the Great Sand Dunes, or anywhere in Alamosa or the San Luis Valley, you are going to get quite the flyby. So please, Eric Litt and all the photographers out there, make sure tomorrow morning you get out there with your cameras and go get it. And that's a boom to knowledge. Hope you got something out of the video. Please share this as we are shadow banned and we need your help to grow. Become a Patreon, support the work we do, and watch all of our productions in one place, commercial free. And most importantly, be safe. We love you. And we'll see you at Crestone in just a week. And that's boom.